The gloves are officially off, and Samantha Markle is unleashing a storm of criticism like never before. In a furious, unrestrained outburst, she detonated a verbal bomb so powerful it threatens to unravel the carefully managed image Meghan Markle has cultivated for years. At the center of it all is Thomas Markle, Meghan's 79-year-old father, who now finds himself stranded on the 19th floor of a high-rise in the Philippines. A devastating 6.9 magnitude earthquake has struck, leaving elevators unusable, stairwells unsafe, and Thomas completely unable to walk. Aftershocks continue to rattle the building, yet his world-famous daughter, once celebrated for her humanitarian spirit, is nowhere to be seen. Samantha didn't soften her words. She went straight for the heart of the matter, insisting that Meghan bears direct responsibility for their father's horrifying situation. Not indirectly, directly. She argued that years of what she called cruelty, calculated media spin, and heartless abandonment forced Thomas to withdraw into isolation overseas. That withdrawal, Samantha claimed, ultimately landed him in the Philippines, the very place where he now faces a life-threatening ordeal. And the timing could not be more startling. Just days before Meghan and Prince Harry are scheduled to accept a prestigious humanitarian honor in New York, Thomas is fighting to stay alive on the other side of the globe. For Samantha, this has moved far beyond family disputes. She called it a full exposure of what she described as Meghan's humanitarian fraud, blasting her sister across social media as evil, cold, and hypocritical. Samantha demanded to know why, with Meghan and Harry's immense wealth and international connections, no help has been sent to rescue their father. Where is the helicopter? Where are the diplomatic contacts? Where is even a single phone call to ask if he is safe? According to Samantha, the truth is unavoidable. If Meghan had shown her father an ounce of compassion in the past, he would never have been forced to hide in the Philippines. He would not have sought refuge there to escape the endless press narratives and alleged smear campaigns. He would not be in a crippled, swaying building now, powerless to move and fearing the next tremor. While Meghan reportedly polishes her public image and readies herself for another award, her father clings to life, and the accusations surrounding this situation are damning. Samantha insists that Meghan's treatment of Thomas has directly affected his health. 2 heart attacks, a debilitating stroke, and ongoing mobility issues have left him fragile. Through it all, Samantha claims, Meghan never reached out, never offered help, never even checked in. And in this latest desperate hour, Samantha says her silence continues. She is not the only one speaking up. Royal observers have joined the chorus, echoing Samantha's piercing question. How can Meghan call herself a humanitarian when her father sits helpless in a disaster zone while she does nothing? And Samantha wasn't finished. What she revealed about Meghan's alleged role in driving their father to this breaking point is even more disturbing, and it all began long before this earthquake shook the Philippines. Right now, Thomas Markle is living a nightmare. The details are harrowing. He is stranded nearly 20 stories up in a structure shaken by a 6.9 magnitude quake. The building itself is not built to withstand such force. The lifts are out of service. Rescue workers are overwhelmed, and no immediate assistance has reached his floor. And Thomas cannot walk. Immobilized, vulnerable, and dependent, he is left inside a building that could crumble with the next aftershock, with no clear plan for evacuation. During a live interview, Samantha gave a gut-wrenching account. Her voice trembled as she explained their father's predicament. He is not alone. A longtime friend visiting from the United Kingdom is with him, but that brings little comfort. The 3 of them are isolated with no emergency teams nearby, just waiting and praying that the building withstands the aftershocks. In her desperation, Samantha even described possible last resort measures, placing Thomas on a mattress or curtain and attempting to drag him down 19 flights of stairs. But the thought alone is terrifying. His fragile health makes such a move nearly impossible, and the risk of collapse adds further dread. Unlike buildings in California, designed with rollers and shock absorbers, these structures were never intended to handle earthquakes of this intensity. The fear is real, the danger is immediate, and Thomas, weakened by prior medical crises, is in no condition to save himself. Already, Thomas has endured 2 heart attacks and a stroke. His body is frail, his strength diminished, his independence gone. Now, trapped in a damaged tower with tremors still striking, he faces an ordeal most would never survive. Samantha made her point with fiery determination. Meghan is not just absent from the crisis, she is at its root. If not for Meghan's treatment of her father, Samantha argued, he never would have fled to the Philippines. He was not sightseeing. He was not chasing a new life. He was running from media humiliation, from heartbreak, from what Samantha insists were public attacks orchestrated by Meghan's team. The harsh reality, Samantha claimed, is that Meghan's behavior left Thomas so broken that he chose exile over enduring the constant stress. And now, that decision has left him in mortal peril. The pattern of cruelty, the disregard, the relentless negative press, all of it, according to Samantha, has led to this moment. Thomas is trapped because Meghan allegedly destroyed his peace, tarnished his reputation, and left him emotionally shattered. And through every tragedy, the heart attacks, the stroke, and now the earthquake, Meghan has never reached out, not once, not even to confirm he is alive. But the accusations went deeper still. Samantha outlined, step by step, how Meghan allegedly dismantled their father's life. These were not vague complaints. They were pointed, specific, and unflinchingly personal. She accused Meghan of driving media campaigns that portrayed Thomas as a liar, a burden, even a traitor. She said the man who gave Meghan everything, his decades-long career as an Emmy-winning lighting director, the long hours, the sacrifices, was cast aside the moment Meghan married into royalty. The relentless headlines, Samantha said, pushed Thomas into seclusion. He avoided public places. He shut himself away. The stress weighed so heavily that his health collapsed. First one heart attack, then another, then a stroke, each one compounding his suffering. And throughout those emergencies, Samantha insists, Meghan did nothing. No message, no assistance, no acknowledgement at all. It didn't stop there. Samantha explained that Thomas felt forced to vanish altogether. The United States was too much. Even Mexico, where he had been living, became unbearable. He sought refuge in the Philippines, not in search of adventure, but in search of escape. Escape from the pain, from the humiliation, from what Samantha said was deliberate estrangement. Meghan, she claimed, allowed and even encouraged the media to erase him from her royal narrative. It was a betrayal, Samantha said, of the worst kind. Thomas was there for Meghan at every stage. Her adolescence, her education, her early career. He supported her dreams, gave her opportunities, and believed in her future. And this, Samantha argued, is how he was repaid, by being erased, vilified, and left alone in the twilight of his life. The heartbreak in Samantha's voice was unmistakable. She repeated again and again. Their father would not be trapped in that crumbling tower if Meghan had treated him with even a fraction of the loyalty he had once shown her. This earthquake didn't put him there. Meghan did. That was Samantha's message, delivered with unwavering conviction. Yet as Samantha poured her soul into describing her father's plight, Meghan was reportedly preparing for something that made the contrast feel grotesque. While Thomas clung to life in a disaster-ravaged high-rise, Meghan was allegedly preparing to step on stage in New York to accept a humanitarian award. The irony, Samantha declared, was unbearable. Her father is in mortal danger, yet Meghan is about to be honored as one of the most compassionate women in the world. Samantha blasted the timing, calling it twisted, hypocritical, and obscene. How could someone who ignored her own father through heart attacks, strokes, and now a deadly earthquake possibly claim to embody humanitarian values? The hypocrisy, Samantha said, was staggering. Royal commentators added fuel to the fire. Christine Hamilton noted that Meghan has unparalleled resources. She could summon diplomatic assistance with a single call. She could secure rescue that ordinary people could never dream of. She has the influence, the wealth, the access. And yet, according to Samantha, she has done absolutely nothing. A helicopter rescue may be out of reach for an average family, Hamilton argued, but not for someone of Meghan's stature. Diplomatic aid, emergency intervention, these are within her grasp. But the question is whether she cares enough to act. Samantha's answer was clear. She doesn't. She has not reached out. She has not offered help. She has not even publicly acknowledged what her father is going through. Instead, Samantha charged, Meghan remains focused on herself, her image, her accolades, her next spotlight. T-moment. Samantha called it a tragic parody. Meghan allegedly pays for awards that celebrate her humanitarianism while her father struggles to survive. The priorities, Samantha insisted, could not be more warped. And for Samantha, this is part of a long-running pattern. Meghan, she alleged, has always placed her public image above the people closest to her. Thomas is the clearest example. He worked grueling hours. He won Emmy Awards. He dedicated his life to providing her with opportunities. Yet once his presence no longer fit her royal narrative, Samantha says, he was tossed aside. And now, even as he faces one of the most terrifying challenges of his life, Meghan has remained silent. Samantha was blunt. You do not deserve honors for compassion if you cannot show kindness to your own father. And if, as some allege, Meghan is paying for those awards herself, it only magnifies the farce. But the critiques didn't stop at priorities. Samantha went further, questioning whether Meghan shows any genuine compassion at all. This wasn't a casual comment. It was a blunt allegation about character. Samantha said she doubts Meghan even has a conscience, comparing the situation to A Christmas Carol, except in her view there's no late-stage change of heart. She backed up her claim by pointing to what she described as a pattern. If Meghan and Harry could allegedly mock Queen Elizabeth during serious illness and show reported indifference toward Prince Philip, why would anyone expect empathy for Thomas now? In Samantha's telling, the evidence is plain. Meghan, she alleged, looks out for herself first, last, and always. Christine Hamilton, speaking in the same broadcast, ratcheted up the rhetoric, describing Meghan as a monster of narcissism if she remains inactive, her words, not ours. Hamilton's point was pragmatic as much as moral, even if Meghan's feelings are complicated. Any basic PR team would, in Hamilton's view, be urging immediate action. From a purely strategic vantage, ignoring a parent trapped in a disaster zone while preparing to receive a humanitarian honor is a public relations catastrophe waiting to happen. Yet, according to Hamilton, Meghan either does not see the risk or does not care about it, which she characterized as chilling. Hamilton concluded that letting this pass without intervention would show a complete absence of basic human decency. Neil Hamilton joined in with his own assessment, saying he cannot fathom what truly motivates Meghan, speculating that status and career may come first, and arguing that her reactions repeatedly seem self-promotional. Samantha echoed that sentiment, insisting she has fought for years against what she calls Meghan's cold indifference. But this moment, she said, is beyond any prior dispute. This is life and death. If Meghan cannot act now, Samantha believes it confirms the worst, that Meghan is exactly as she appears to her critics, someone who prioritizes self-interest over family, even in an emergency. To understand why this rift hurts so deeply, Samantha reminded viewers that the relationship wasn't always fractured. Meghan and Thomas were once extremely close, she said. Samantha recounted that Thomas supported Meghan throughout her teenage years, financed her education, and encouraged her ambitions. Meghan, Samantha noted, used to publicly praise him, acknowledging his sacrifices. The bond, at least in the past, was not only real but central to Meghan's early life. Then came Prince Harry, and with him, Samantha alleges, a dramatic shift. Practically overnight, she said, Thomas went from beloved father to inconvenient figure. He no longer fit the public storyline Meghan was creating, Samantha claimed. Rather than stand up for him, Meghan allegedly distanced herself. The press turned, portraying Thomas as a problem, stories Samantha described as slanted or outright false. And Meghan, she alleged, did little or nothing to correct the record. In Samantha's view, Thomas was not gradually edged out. He was decisively cut off, and the resulting heartbreak contributed to his decline. Samantha emphasized that Thomas wasn't asking for fame or money, only recognition and a place in his daughter's life. He wanted respect, a basic relationship, nothing more. Yet, according to Samantha, Meghan chose her royal image over her father and never looked back. Samantha also contrasted Thomas's sacrifices, long work hours, industry accolades, steady financial support, with the narrative she says Meghan now promotes, one that barely acknowledges his role. It is a betrayal, Samantha argued, that is hard to forgive, especially as Thomas now faces immediate danger. Samantha's criticism then turned to Prince Harry directly. She accused him of being equally responsible for the current state of affairs, asking where his much-vaunted sense of duty and honor has gone. How, she asked, can someone with a military background fail to act when a vulnerable elder is in peril? Samantha alleged that Harry stood by while negative PR about Thomas circulated, doing nothing to intervene or insist on respect. In her view, that silence enabled a destructive storyline to solidify around Thomas. Pushing further, Samantha referenced reports, again her claims, that Meghan and Harry showed disrespect toward Queen Elizabeth during severe illness and toward Prince Philip as well. If they could allegedly behave that way toward senior family members at their most fragile moments, Samantha asked, why would anyone expect compassion for Thomas now? In her framing, the pattern is unmistakable. When people become inconvenient, they are sidelined. If that is how the couple treated the royal family, Samantha argued, Thomas never stood a chance. Samantha said she wishes she could be surprised, but she isn't. In her view, Harry has revealed his true colors, someone who, like Meghan as she describes her, is focused primarily on personal brand and advancement. And now, with Thomas in a potentially collapsing building, Samantha said Harry is silent. No statement, no action, no urgency. She stressed that Harry has the connections to mobilize help quickly. He could call officials, elevate the situation through his platform, and push for rapid assistance. The fact that he hasn't, she claimed, is not oversight. It's a decision. And then there is the looming ceremony. In just days, Samantha noted, Meghan and Harry are set to attend an event in New York where they will receive a humanitarian accolade. Cameras will flash, speeches will be delivered, and the couple will be celebrated for compassion and service, while at the same time, Thomas remains in jeopardy in the Philippines. To Samantha, this juxtaposition is grotesque. She accused Meghan of spending to secure honors while failing, in her view, to extend basic care to her own father. If humanitarianism begins at home, Samantha said, then accepting that award under these circumstances is indefensible. Christine Hamilton drove home the contrast with examples from the disaster zone. Emergency responders risking their lives, neighbors hauling strangers from debris, people who will never stand on a stage yet embody the very values being applauded in New York. Those are the true humanitarians, Hamilton argued, not someone who she alleges will not pick up the phone to check on her father. Neil Hamilton added that the optics are beyond repair. If Meghan proceeds as if nothing is wrong, the reputational damage should be lasting. Samantha distilled it into a simple principle. You cannot declare yourself a humanitarian when you have immense resources, diplomatic reach, and the power to intervene, and you choose not to. That, she said, is not compassion, it is performance. And if Meghan accepts the honor without acting, Samantha believes it will confirm everything critics have been saying. About the gap between image and reality. The question now, Samantha argued, is painfully straightforward. Will Meghan do anything at all? Samantha issued a direct plea on air. Use your network, your wealth, your influence to get Thomas to safety. One call to the right official, one outreach to a consulate, one public statement drawing attention to his predicament. Any of these could accelerate help. If anyone can move the needle, Samantha said, it's Meghan. Yet Samantha admitted she is not optimistic. In her words, you can't get blood from a stone. If Meghan has not shown concern by now, Samantha doubts she will. Still, she wanted the appeal on the record. If help doesn't come, the world will know that Meghan had every chance to act. If she does assist, quietly or publicly, Samantha said she would welcome it. Just do the right thing, help your father. That's all she is asking. Christine Hamilton agreed, saying that even if estrangement runs deep, a crisis like this is not the time to cling to grievances. This is about survival. If Meghan cannot set aside differences to ensure Thomas's safety, Hamilton said, then any humanitarian label rings hollow. She even suggested prompt action could save his life. The lingering question, does Meghan care enough to try? Neil Hamilton warned of severe backlash if Meghan does nothing. The headlines, the commentary, the long-term stain on her image, but he added that Meghan has ignored public sentiment before and may do so again, focusing on narratives she can control rather than uncomfortable realities. Samantha said she isn't expecting miracles. She simply wants accountability. If Thomas doesn't get help, let it be clear who failed him. If Meghan acts, Samantha will acknowledge it. Either way, time is passing, the aftershocks continue, and the silence remains. That silence, Samantha argued, speaks volumes, hours after news of this. An earthquake broke, and after her social media appeals, there has been no statement from Meghan, no acknowledgement, no visible effort to intervene, no sign of awareness. Samantha emphasized that this is not unprecedented. After previous medical emergencies, she said, Meghan also remained silent. The pattern in Samantha's telling is unmistakable, erasing Thomas from the public narrative by never responding at all. But this situation is different because the stakes are immediate and tangible. Thomas is in a compromised structure, immobilized and dependent on others, with tremors still striking the region. Meghan, someone with the stature to command attention and mobilize aid, has, according to Samantha and the commentators, done nothing. That quiet, Hamilton argued, is a deliberate choice. You cannot champion humanitarian causes while ignoring a parent in peril. Compassion starts with the people closest to you. Without that, the rest, they said, is theatrics. Neil Hamilton added that Meghan has long been adept at message control, speaking when it serves her goals, granting interviews to shape perception, and retreating into silence when facts don't fit the crafted storyline. This scenario does not fit, he argued. It is messy, tragic, and, to critics, deeply unflattering. The result? More silence. Samantha asked the hardest questions. How dire must things become before Meghan acts? How close to the edge must Thomas be before she makes a call? Samantha admitted she doesn't know the threshold, but she believes the absence of action is already damning. And there is one more revelation, she said, that makes this moment especially revealing about priorities and values. The last, and perhaps most revealing twist, isn't only about what Meghan has not done in this current crisis. It's about what the entire situation shows about her values and image. Strip away the polished press releases, the glowing speeches, the awards, and what remains, according to Samantha and other commentators, is a trail of broken relationships and unanswered pleas. Samantha asked how many people have to be hurt before Meghan is held accountable. She pointed not only to Thomas, but also to others, referencing, as allegations, Meghan's treatment of Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and even tensions with Prince William and Kate Middleton. The list, Samantha said, keeps growing, and yet Meghan continues to present herself as misunderstood, as the victim, as someone the world should applaud. Christine Hamilton described this as a consistent pattern of self-centered behavior, arguing that Meghan's focus is always her own brand, her own image, her own ambitions. Others, Hamilton said, are treated like background characters, useful for a time, then discarded. Thomas, she argued, is only the clearest case. He gave his daughter everything, only to be erased once he was inconvenient. Neil Hamilton said, what makes this situation particularly unsettling is the coldness. Even in fractured families, most people would feel compelled to act when a parent faces mortal danger. At the very least, he said, a phone call or message would be expected. But based on the evidence laid out, Meghan has done none of that. To Neil, this goes beyond a lack of empathy. It is an absence altogether. Samantha took it further, describing the pain of watching someone with immense resources refuse to use them in a life-or-death emergency. To her, the cruelty is not just personal, but symbolic. She knows what could be done, she sees the possibilities, and she believes Meghan has chosen not to act. Samantha called it sickening. Against that backdrop, the impending humanitarian award becomes, in her view, obscene. How, Samantha asked, can Meghan accept recognition for compassion while her father struggles for survival? How can she claim to make the world better while leaving wreckage at home? Samantha argued that this moment alone disqualifies Meghan from the title of Humanitarian. The world is now watching, she said. The question isn't only whether Meghan will act, but whether anyone can continue to believe in her crafted image if she doesn't. If Thomas does not receive help and Meghan remains silent, Samantha declared, the supposed fraud will be exposed. So the question remains, can someone accused of abandoning her father in a disaster zone really claim the mantle of humanitarian? Viewers are left to weigh the contrast, the silence, and the allegations. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, subscribe for updates, and stay tuned, because the next development in this unfolding story may be even more explosive than what we have already seen.